Well, we know that it is a state agency that provides arguably the most critical forecast, yet it is in a dire need for support. Today on The Pulse, we threw a spotlight on the Ghana Meteorological Agency as we discuss their operations, and then the latest agitations that we're hearing of have generated a wider conversation about, first of all, the branch of science that focuses on forecasting. Fortunately, we've been joined by Joseph Portofi, who is the Director, Forecasting and Synoptic Meteorology at the Ghana Meteorological Agency. Such a pleasure, sir, to have you in our studios. So first of all, just before we understand your operations, what can you tell us about the mood in your offices now? Obviously, your staff have been raising some concerns for days now. What can you say briefly about that as we move into
what I can say is that our staffs are on strike. And then as I'm coming from the office currently, it is only management who are in the office. Almost all the staff are not in the office across the country.
Which means that we don't have anyone to, advise us if we're going to have some forecast, some storms, weather storms or whatever it is. That's the implication.
Yeah, currently, yes.
So no one to work with. And for how long will this take? Do we have any fair?
We were in the management meeting with the union and then the deputy minister when I came here. So I hope that by the close of the day, something fruitful will come out of it, because the union put certain things, and if those demands, some of them can be met, some of them maybe from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday going. But there are two things. If one of them is able to be met, then definitely they might call off.
After this meeting that we're talking about.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I'd have to prolong this a bit. You don't speak for the group, we need to state that. But there are implications if we don't have your colleagues support your activities as management. What are the implications if we don't have them return, and what are your fears generally?
Very dire consequences, because we are part of World Meteorological Organization of UN, and it is mandatory on us to observe the weather and then report the weather every 3 hours throughout the country. So every 3 hours, there is what we call synoptic data that we observed, we record, and then we push into the global system. And if they are not working, we'll lose data for that, and the whole world will also suffer. It is very dire consequence. In certain places, certain airlines cannot even come, because when you come currently, you are doing so at your own risk.
That's how dangerous it is.
Yes.
So as we speak, all airlines coming into Ghana, if you're coming
at your own risk.
Your own risk.
Yes.
But that could put a lot of people in danger.
That is it. Because our men are not providing that service. Wherever they are getting the service from, we don't know. But if they are doing so, they are doing so at their own risk. If something happens, we don't have any document to go and back them with.
Give us a breakdown into what we term synoptic data. I mean, there are a lot of people who are out there who do not necessarily know what the technicalities of it, what it involves. But you say you release this every 3 hours.
Yeah.
What is entailed in the process, and what does it? What kind of data do you provide?
Yeah, synoptic data is to observe all the weather parameters: pressure, relative humidity, sunshine, dew points, sunshine duration, solar radiation, incoming radiation, soil temperature, and almost all the weather parameters that you can think of. We need to observe it, and the observer or the technical officer need to record. Apparently, they record every hourly.
Okay, but then you publish every
3 hourly.
Right. So that's what even your staff help you to do. I mean, it's a collective,
it's a collective
work that you do.
Yes.
So I'm assuming, and a lot of people have heard of GMet. We sometimes even see your reports out there. Some criticize you for the late report and all of that, but yet we seem to have a gap in communication. Is it the case that the concerns that your staff have could be a reason, part of the bigger challenge that is confronting the organization?
When we talk, yes and no. Because it all boils on funds, and we believe that if those that we render service for are able to do their bit of the bargain, we will not reach where we are now, because there are a lot of clients that we provide services for, and they need to pay for it. But unfortunately, most of them are not paying for it.
So a lot of people are owing you. If we could put it that way.
If I mention it, if I mention it, You might even doubt, but you can check.
So there's a lot of amount.
As currently, I can talk about over 80 million Ghana cedis.
That's shocking. 80 million Ghana cedis. And why are you not going after these institutions?
Most of them are government agencies.
Right.
So you see, government agencies, government taking government to court, that sort of thing. But I think the new board coming in now have to strategize and find a way of getting that in. The ministers have talked. Our minister has been very magnanimous. He has been able to, he even passed the act that means to get these monies. But how to collect the money now is becoming a challenge. And the workers are agitating because I think there are working conditions. When you go to our offices in Adan, in Akuse, in Abetifi, in Bole, in Wa, we have all offices around the country. When you go there and they give you a chair, you might not even sit down in the office. And people are working there. Some of the instruments are obsolete. Yet people are doing their best. So if you don't fix those things, then they become dejected.
Right.
And that is what...
Could it not be the case that we don't know much more about your services? And that's why all of this is happening. Because we don't see you, and I'm using that word advisedly, being proactive in sending caution out there. We see that once in a
blue. As for the cautions, with what we have at the headquarters, I can tell you that wherever in the world is going to rain, I'll be able to tell you.
Right.
So we do that. It is only at times when we send it to the media houses, then maybe they are doing their own programs. They don't want us to bring that program in. And then they will maybe publish it at the end of their show that they are running. And that is what is a challenge for us. But currently, we have the state-of-the-art equipment at the headquarters that should be able to deliver very accurate and then prompt forecast for the nation.
Okay, so with this 80 million Ghana cedis, I believe, that we're talking about, if you should have this 80 million Ghana cedis refunded or perhaps paid to you because it's something you've worked for, what would that mean for the Ghana Meteorological Agency?
It will change the face of Ghana Meteorological Agency. We can even use some to rebrand. Currently, I can tell you that the attrition of the agency is very high.
Staff are leaving?
Seriously. Even last 2 weeks, our 2 of them have left. You train staff, competent ones, you give them master's degrees, even some go as far as PhD. And when they come on, then they leave. And those are some of the things that is happening. So when we get that money today, it will change the face of Ghana.
Okay, so what services do you normally provide with this amount of money? What kind of services?
We have a lot of services that we provide. People may not know.
Yeah. If you could just break it down. And that's why I'm happy you are here. Because for a long time now, and I'm sure you get this reaction. Anytime you talk to people, you say, I work with GMet, they don't really understand.
Oh, will it rain? Will it not rain?
Yeah, precisely. That has been the perception out there. So what are some of the services that you render and what you do particularly, and reasons why we're not seeing state agencies pay this 80
To start with, let me talk about energy. For VRA to manage the water levels, the inflows of water into the dam, they depends on us weekly. Every week, we give them the forecast, and also we collect data on the river boundaries. We have stations along those areas that we collect data, that we give it to them, and that is what they put in their model and know the amount of water that will be coming into the dam. VRA and the Bui Dam, we do for them every week. When we leave there, we come to Ghana Maritime Authority. Ghana Maritime Authority are the sole custodians of the ocean.
Territorial, yeah.
Yes. We provide them weather services. If you bring your rice and we are offloading the rice and it rain on the rice, you go for your insurance company. So we need to protect those things. So we give them weather forecast.
Right.
When it comes to Ministry of Agriculture, as a body, as a unit, we provide them with those things. We have peasant farmers. Currently, we have about 7,000 peasant farmers on our list that we make sure that we provide them with forecasts so that they will know at least when to spray their farm, when to water, when to weed, when to plant, and all those things. We do that. Construction companies. Yeah. Yes, if you are going to do a bridge or something, you need to know the flow of those areas. We provide them with all those services. We also collect data.
Right. And
that data can be used for so many things. In health, if you want to do the outbreak of meningitis in the north, it is temperature related.
Yeah.
So you need to get the data, run a model, and see whether this kind of temperature you are experiencing and the relative humidity in the atmosphere will propagate this meningitis. Our biggest clients is what we call the aviation industry. As I said earlier, if we don't issue, in the aviation industry, we have about 4 or 5 elements that we do. We issue what we call terminal aerodrome forecast staff. And the staff, we do it every 4 hourly. We update it. Then we have what we call significant met weather. That one we have satellite receiving equipment.
Right.
That tells us where there are pockets of thunderstorms that will bring lightning, or there are what we call clear air turbulence and that sort of thing.
So you check that for that for the flights that are arriving into the country.
Yes, we issued it. We just issued it to civil aviation, and they only transmit to the pilot.
Right.
You know when you are traveling, you are landing, they'll tell you the temperature of this is this, that. Yeah. We send those information.
So now that you're not there, it means that obviously
nothing is
the flights wouldn't have this critical.
Yes,
so you could that could lead to some.
Not only that. You know, when the aircraft is flying, it needs certain information. You need temperature, you need relative humidity, you even need the speed of the wind, the direction of the wind. Because for an aircraft to take off, you need to calculate the type of wind. Right. When you get a type of wind, if it is a tailwind, if it is a tailwind, fine. If it is a headwind, it means you are going like this, the wind is going against you. Yeah. So it will retard your speed. So you have to take a lot of fuel. So they need to do all those calculations. And we have to provide that information for you to know the number of passengers to take and number of fuel to take. And if all those things are not done, and you are flying, then you are putting your passengers.
So is it the case that you're not mindful of the dangers of your staff withdrawing their services?
We are very mindful. We know the implications. We know I don't want to talk about
maybe but obviously it's a concern, because if this is what's going to happen now, I'm sure a lot of people out there will be worried for their relatives who are arriving in the country as we speak.
Yes, there should be some of us are not even sleeping since yesterday when the union declared a strike.
Right.
I left the office around 7:38. By 8 I was there. We started a meeting around 9 with the minister, and they are still there.
Okay, but if you're owed about 80 million Ghana cedis, the argument then would be that, and the services you mentioned here, quite a range here. VRA, you have the Peasant Farmers Ministry of Agric, and then the Maritime Authority as well. These are institutions that
our artisanal fishermen,
right, who are using your services. But you claim that the biggest debtor,
yes, because
the biggest debtor obviously will be the aviation industry. So you mean to say that the Ghana Airports Company owes the Ghana Meteorological Agency?
Seriously, I can say on all authority that I have.
How much are we looking at, if you're willing to put that out there? The Ghana Airports Company.
The two of them owes us that 80 million.
So the significant portion of the 80 million is as a result of the failure of the Ghana Airports,
I mentioned now,
right,
is
to pay
Ghana Airport Company Limited and then Ghana Civil Aviation Authority.
What has been the level of engagement between the Civil Aviation Authority and GMet? Have you engaged them over the years over your concerns?
We've engaged. The last money they sent to us somewhere middle of last year was about I think $50,000 or so. And
it's still woefully inadequate to cater for the cost.
Cannot do anything.
Right.
You cannot do anything. The running cost of our operations cannot do anything. Despite the fact that government pays our salary. We are not talking about salary.
Yeah. But you're talking about the services that you render. But is this not questioning the management, those in management, the fact that you've allowed this to go on for some time? You're not going after the debtors, you're not writing letters to the Ghana Airports Company to pay the amount.
We've done all those things. We've brought the ministers in, we've spoken to their minister, their board, we've done everything, but we hope that maybe something will come out of this.
So how is this impacting generally the other offices that you have and the other departments that you have? Is that the reason why you don't have enough logistics, for instance, or the tools to continue to do your work?
That's what I said. When you go to some of our offices, right, and they give you a chair, the chair is not even there for you to sit down. And some of the equipment, they just need maybe painting or some screw or some ink. If somebody called me that I need ink, we have what we call the radiograph.
Right.
And radiography uses ink. It's a small ink. It will not cost more than 300 per bottle. But we don't have it. And they are calling from all stations. And all these stations must pay utilities.
Free sleep sounds capsules.
All this last year, our electricity, the whole place was disconnected. The minister have to come in before the electricity company reconnected us.
Oh, you were disconnected recently?
Yes, we were disconnected.
So that's how bad the situation is.
Yes, yes.
Do you feel that the department, because a lot of people don't know about your activities, you've been neglected for some time over the years? And this is not just focused on any particular regime, but it appears that because the public is obviously not aware of your activities, we don't really pay attention to GMet.
Yeah, I would say yes or no, because frankly speaking, when it comes to weather here, it's predictable. I mean, if you wake up, you know the rainy season, you know the Harmattan season, and that sort of thing. You don't care about it.
Yeah.
It is when you go to the temperate regions that the weather can change. You'll be there, and then all of a sudden it started raining.
Right.
And forecasting there is also very easy. But we do a lot of things more than what people thought we have been doing.
Right.
A whole lot of things. We are in the, how do we call it? We have collaborators with international bodies that we need to provide our services to them for them to be able to do what they want to do.
Right.
If we don't get the data and you are running a model over Africa and Ghana data is not there, it will not be complete.
How much time do you have? I'm asking this because you are still being owed heavily. 80 million cedis is a lot of money. How much time do you have in terms of having to make up for the inadequate logistics that you are working with now?
I think the union will have been best to talk about these things. But being in management at times is very hectic.
Yeah.
We are stretched to the limit. I could tell you yesterday our minister was speaking on I think on a certain, when they inaugurated the board, and he was charging the board that our quality management system, it took us so many years to be able to achieve that certificate. And it is mandatory for every Met agency that is providing aeronautical services to go through the quality management system. And we achieved it in 2019. Auditors came. After 2020, we did another, how do we call it?
Audit.
Audit.
Yeah.
We went through. Last year, we did the audit. We couldn't pay the amount of the auditors up to today. So the certificate has been withdrawn.
Ghana's quality
management
certificate has
been withdrawn. Yes, as I'm speaking to you. It has been withdrawn.
So what will be the effect on GMet then?
Internationally, it doesn't speak good of us. Because I quite remember the president was saying that he wants to make Kotoka International Airport the hub for West Africa and if not Africa. And those are some of the things, indicators that the world will measure us with. And if your quality management system has been withdrawn, then what's the quality of the service you are providing when it comes to meteorology at the airport?
It's as though you're performing without any certification. That's the implication.
And those are some of the things that the workers are not happy with. And this, I personally, I'm in charge of quality management system. I wrote to civil aviation. I even sent them the receipts to pay the consultants and the certification group from UK. They have not done it.
Are you on the lookout for support from well-wishers and the private sector? Because if you look at the institutions that you've listed here, you deal sometimes with construction firms. These are private organizations.
Yeah, so when it comes,
are you on the lookout?
Yeah, when they come,
but now you're in dire need of funds. Would you appeal to them and ask them to come to your aid?
Well, yes, I would be very glad if people would take up some of our stations, our synoptic stations, and then refurbish them. We'll be very, very glad, because it's very appalling, especially when you look at where people live and work. Some of them, when it's raining, they can't sit in the office. And these structures were built so many years ago, and those are the structures that we are using. But the good news is that there is something coming, what we call retooling of GMet.
It's an elaborate program that you're rolling out. Retooling of GMet. That's the campaign you're staging now.
Where,
what are we going to see?
Yes, a private company will look for a loan then we will use our, whatever we are supposed to get from our clients, then they will refurbish equipment and refurbish our offices for us.
Okay.
And
so you're going, it's as though you're going for a PPP arrangement. So you're having a private investor are they taking over GMet?
No.
They're just coming to invest.
Just to retool.
Okay. At what cost, and what will be the cost to the state, or maybe to the investor, right?
The cost to GMet,
right?
Because we know we have some revenue flows that will be coming. So they will, based upon that, they can use those things to service.
Okay, so this will be sort of a pre-financing arrangement.
Perfect.
But here's the case that you're being owed 80 million Ghana cedis. You're not able to recover that fund, and yet you're expecting a private organization to come through with their fund, invest in you, and later on the payment comes. Are you sure that you'll not be building up more costs?
Fortunately for us, I think there's a very good will from the government, because it is in this year's budget, policy budget for the 2022. So we believe that the Ministry of Finance will be able to sit down with our debtors and fashion out something.
Some strategy.
Once the Ministry of Finance has put it in the budget, he can use the whip on them, and then
okay, so I want to believe this is all part of the Retooling GMet campaign. What about public confidence, the increased engagement? Obviously, the public need to know more about your activities. What factors and what spaces are you making for public engagement, further public engagement, or constant communication? It appears that's one of your weaknesses. Part of the reasons why the public really don't know about your activities. I think
I've been here. Joy has been a station that I've been
a number of times.
Right. Almost among all the stations.
Right.
And then any opportunity that we get, we try to tell people our existence and what we do, and then how people should also support us. Yes, it's difficult to do some forecasts here, but what I can say is that whatever we have and the kind of human resource that we have can match to anywhere. That is why our workers are being poached. They come, some go back to the UK, some go back to Kenya, South Africa, India, they be going. So they should have confidence in us that for protecting life and property for the nation, we are prepared and we are willing, and we will give them accurate forecasts. We also have some certain challenges. People want to say that, oh yes, if I say it should rain in Accra, Accra is big, and it rains in, let's say, rain in airports. It doesn't rain in Kaneshi. Then there's a problem. We can do all those things, but it comes with resources. It comes with high-powered computers. To be able to do point-to-point forecasts, you need to run the models. Currently, as I'm speaking, the only model that we run, the WAF model that we run, the system is even down.
So you may not be able to forecast in the coming days.
No. That's a forecast you'll be doing, because fortunately for us, we belong to World Meteorological Organization.
Okay. So you rely on some of these.
Yes. So we rely on European Meteorological Satellite, European Meteorological Weather Forecast Station. We rely on France, Meteo France.
Okay.
We rely on what do you call it? Met Office, which is UK, and then we also rely on NOAA. NOAA is the US type. So we use almost all their models to do our
and all of these things are not your system. Your system is down.
You know, we rely on all these things, and then add our local one to it before we come out with the forecast.
But now your local one is down.
Yes.
So if your local one is down,
so we still rely.
That will test the accuracy of the forecast that you'd be making.
No, what we do is we downscale all those that I mentioned. So we have a lot. As for product, we have a lot of products that if you give to a forecaster, he might not even be able to assess all the product before it comes out with its forecast. But we have a lot of them. But you see, when you do your own homegrown model, it's able to pick certain things that the global one is not able to pick. And those are some of the challenges that we are having.
But I'm sure that as you're embarking on this Retooling GMet campaign, you'd obviously make room for
all this is to be solved.
But we know that one of the issues we have in Accra is perennial flooding as well. How is GMet preparing this time around to give adequate information ahead of time so that we don't have this recurrence of the incident?
Yes, I can say that by next week or next 2 weeks, our seasonal forecast will come out. And the seasonal forecast will tell us the amount of rains that we'll have in those areas. So we'll tell the public, and then we'll continue to monitor. Our offices are 24/7. We have 22 of them across the country. They are 24/7. They are around 24/7. So at any cost, any time, we'll be able to observe the weather and let the public know. At certain times, yes, around 10 o'clock, 10, 11 o'clock, when you observe something and the issue, you see, people
so is that to say we can take your word for it? We can rely on you this year?
Yes, currently with the latest scarce resources that we have, we've tried to come out with some apps and things. So we'll be launching what we call the Weather Information Dissemination System. It has a voice over. We are trying, it's money.
Okay.
You need to translate some of these forecasts into local languages. You need to go to the School of Languages, get experts to translate it. And it's not only one day translate it. Every day they need to do the translation. So you need a constant flow of resources to be able to sort these things out. Currently, we have, how do we call it, European Union and African Union. Yes, we'll be able to develop a USSD code. When you dial *920, at least you get a 3-4 days weather forecast over the ocean.
Okay, so that's what you're planning to do. So that
what I'm saying
now there'll be constant.
Some of them we are doing it.
Okay, some of them you're doing.
We are doing it.
But you are planning to scale it up. Scale information and to proactively distribute information ahead of time. The concern is, well, you need confidence in the information that you're also putting out there. The public confidence and trust is very much key. But why is it that when you sometimes forecast, predict that it will rain, it doesn't happen, and then you get a lot of flags for that?
I think people are still in their olden days.
Oh, really?
Very, very well. But I think for the past 5, 6, 7 years now, we've come on top of our issues.
Are you sure about this?
I am in charge of forecasting.
You're on top of your game. It's no longer the old GMet that we have.
No, because
when you say it, it happens.
Perfectly. It's some 7, 10 years ago, but currently, I can put my neck on the plate, and I can tell you that at least not 80-85% of our forecast is accurate. Because what we also do, we also mark ourselves. The forecasters.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, we do. No, every week. We have what we call chart discussion. So Monday when we come, the forecaster will lead us and tell us all what will happen.
All that you predicted, and whether or not it
so
indeed
the
happened.
following week, we'll come and check. So we'll take fast check. We call it fast check. We'll check it. And we also we don't only do, how do we call it? We have 2 ways of doing it.
Okay.
We have just the qualitative one, and we have quantitative one.
Right.
Where we put it into what we call a model. It runs it, and it comes out with the results for us.
Right. So you know your score as of now. What's your rate of average rate?
That's why I said for now, when it comes to forecasting, especially public weather forecast, I can give ourselves 85 too.
That's wonderful.
Yes,
85%.
Yes, when you go to
yet you're on strike, so that will be the confidence will be affected for a number of days.
Confidence.
But anyway,
we hope this strike will be
but we need to go. What's your message to the public as we wrap up this conversation?
What I want to say is that it's rather unfortunate that this strike has come. But we are working hard to resolve some of the issues for the workers. They are still in a crunch meeting.
Right.
Yes. Monday, they'll be moving to the Labour Commission. Some of them are beyond our ministry
control.
So they have to go there. And then people should have patience with us and support us. Because I believe the fight that we are fighting today will go a long way to bring confidence back, go a long way to help us give accurate and prompt forecasts for the nation.
Mr. Tete Potofi, I'm grateful that you've been able to join us here on The Pulse.